All right, so you were bringing up Cam Newton and his thoughts on Jayden Daniels.
Well, Cam Newton's got a podcast or a YouTube show, whatever it is, and he had Wale on, and they were talking about the Commanders. Wale is a huge DC sports fan, and they were discussing Jayden Daniels, and of course, a comparison was made between Jayden Daniels and a former quarterback. Here's what Cam Newton said.
Here, Jayden Daniels could be a potential one-hit wonder.
Nah.
What makes him different?
I think he loves the game too much.
But speak to me like from a D&B.
He loves the game too much. You know, you got people that don't love the game. Mm-hmm. They love what comes with the game. That boy loves the game. Like, he just loves the game. Like,
seen a lot of success as a rookie season.
I worry about that with our most like CJ struggled a little bit the second year, but the line was a little.
But I'm gonna say it in this way. There's nobody who had the game in a chokehold like Robert Griffin III. but RG3, bro, I have to tip my hat to him.
One of the GOAT rookie seasons of all time.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I see that same thing happening for Jayden, and as you know, being in that community, do you fear that?
I mean, I think you always fear. Like, we got PTSD of not winning for so long, so it's like we don't even know how to have good things. We don't know what it's like to be like having 5 primetime games this year. Like, we don't know. Like, so it's like there's a reason why. You know what I'm saying? And this is the kid from LSU. But so we like, damn, like, okay, when is the honeymoon over? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's easy to think like that, but I gotta believe in, like, you know, the new organization and new GM. You know, they got plans for the new stadium. So, like, we going in the right direction. We trying to right them wrongs from all them years.
I think that he answered that fairly well. Now, he didn't go into the breakdown. But his overall answer of why he's different than Robert, I generally agree with. I think there are specific reasons why he's, you know, athletically more gifted and maybe mentally more gifted at this game and way ahead of the curve than Robert. But the essence of he loves the game, you know, which talks about what he's talking about is being there all the time and being, you know, understanding, being a student of the game. And that's why I expect him to not have a Robert-like fall from grace.
Well, and then also Robert got injured.
The injury certainly was a factor.
I mean, that was a huge factor.
It's a massive factor.
I mean, if Jayden had the same injury that Robert had, okay, he might be a different quarterback after that.
He might be, but he's still light years ahead of him.
True,
mentally.
I totally agree with that.
And all of the other skill sets.
I mean, he's a much better passer coming out of college.
Yeah. The other factor, if we want to relitigate RG3, is going into his second season, all the outside voices influenced him.
No doubt.
So his dad on GQ magazine and his dad telling the Washington Post that he wants to see him throw a lot more. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to the coaching staff and says he doesn't want to run.
Of course, in the way that Dan empowered him and everything. Of course. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But Robert, to his credit, and it should never go away, that 2012 year was magical. And for people on the outside looking in, it's easy to make the Robert comparison to Jayden. But I think if you look at it closely, like a lot of us here in DC have, I don't expect Jayden to have that drop off, notwithstanding the injury that Robert had. He's too committed to the game. He's too locked in mentally. I just don't see it. Yes, there are similarities. Yes, they made a lot of hay with their legs. Yeah. But he's just light years ahead of him in the passing game, as you say.
Yeah.
And reading things. And he's not a me guy. He just is not how he's wired.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't give off that effect to the media that RG3 did. Because RG3, when he spoke to the media, that's the effect he gave.
Yeah, and Robert would throw teammates under the bus and it would constantly compare himself to elites in the game. You know, like as a rookie, he's comparing himself to Aaron Rodgers or whatever. I mean, you know, just doing kind of crazy stuff. I don't expect that to happen with Jayden.
Now,
does it mean that Jayden won't have a setback or he won't be quite as dominant this year? But his skill set, his toolbox is just much larger than Robert's.
It's got to stay healthy.
Now, when I first saw people referencing that clip, my impression is that Cam was taking shots at Jayden. From that little bit that you played, it's hard for me to accuse him of taking a shot at him.
No,
Maybe
I don't
he
think
did,
he was taking shots.
but
I think he's actually being a host. He's got a guest, and he's like, "Hey, are you worried about this? Because this happened to RG3."
I think the phrase "one hit wonder" can be polarizing to Commanders fans.
Of course,
it's trigger.
Of course,
I would be shocked if he was a one-hit wonder. Completely shocked.
Oh,
and not a lot of things shock me in sports, but that would shock me.
I think
unless he does have suffer a major.
I think he's going to the Hall of Fame. But I also thought after Robert's rookie year that Robert was going to have an unbelievable career. You know,
it's hard not to. The guy had 20 touchdown passes.
I didn't see all the
only
flaws.
5 interceptions.
I didn't see all the flaws in Robert's game and maybe even persona.
Well, some would argue too, had he not been so stubborn, maybe he would have been fine.
Yeah, because most people
stayed healthy.
His second season
from ACLs.
His first season he had 7 rushing touchdowns. His second season he had 0. Yeah, think about that.
Well, he was diminished though. He did probably come back too soon. So there's some of that too.
Yeah, certainly a lot of it was on him.
But an ACL injury in 2025 is not like an ACL injury in the 90s or 80s or when we were coming up. It's not. It's so routine for the most part.
Yeah, but
very, very high percentage of guys come back at a high level.
Still could affect you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that held Robert back was hubris and thinking he was more than he was.
800-636-1067 is the number
from that.
If you want to give us a call throughout the show, 800-636-1067. Remember, we got an exclusive interview. Mike Rizzo will join us today at 9 o'clock. He was fired, but he's still joining us at 9 o'clock. You don't want to miss that here on the Junkies.